So it was another defeat for Calne, 3 defeats in a row, but you played some lovely football at times. What do you think has been the reason behind the defeats when really the games have been quite close against higher opposition?
I think um, the goals that we conceded in the 3 games are goals that we've not been conceding. They're sloppy goals. We haven't played for a while, so we'll put it down to that. Sometimes in friendlies, you're not up for it as much as you are in league games, so you do switch off because there's substitutions and the crowds aren't there and little things like that. So I'm hopefully putting it down to that because we don't concede that many goals normally. Against Westbury, I thought it was, even though they had quite a few chances, I felt 5-2 wasn't a real reflection on the game. I think if it finished at 3-2, they deserved to win. But I think if it finished 3-2, I think that would we'd have been okay with that. But it's just the goals that we conceded. We worked hard to get back in it when they took the lead and scored that a great team goal. And then that last 10 minutes was a bit shambolic, really. Those 2 goals, just to make it look a bit more convincing what it was.
And you say about the mistakes there. So it seems at times that Calne have been playing almost in phases. So they'll have 20 minutes where they're outstanding, especially against Shrivenham, when they obviously came back to take the lead. Do you think that maybe the margin for error in the higher leagues is maybe smaller, and obviously the club have ambitions of going up? Do you think that experiences like this will help them in the long term too?
Yeah, I think against a better side, especially when you play sides like Melksham, I think you do get punished, for errors. You might give 5 chances in our league and they might not score any of them. But if you give 5 chances against a team like Melksham, they're going to score 3 or 4. The biggest thing for me is I don't want to sort of go into it or think too much about it, in the fact of, in a league game, if we played that game, we wouldn't make 6 substitutions. We'd have that same side until we needed to make a sub. So I think a lot of it, comes down to that. Some of those goals we conceded the other night, there's nothing against the sub that come on. It just means that, it's fresh, it's different legs. You've got to get to the tempo of the game. So, I put some of those goals down to a lot of changes. Like I said, if you play in a league game, you keep the same side until you need to change, not just change when you're on top. And I put some of it down to that.
And you've got Warminster coming up on Saturday. What type of game are you expecting for that?
A very tough game. Crabby always gets his sides well disciplined, well drilled. They're quite direct. It'd be a hard game. It'd be a hard game. It'd be like the Westbury game. It's going to be a tough one. We're going to have to be our best, and we're going to have to cut out stupid mistakes, and do what we have been doing. As you saw, against Westbury, sometimes when we got the ball down and done the things that we do best, we cut a Premiership side open, at ease a couple of times on Tuesday. So if we keep doing that, then we've got a great chance. But if we don't, against a team like Warminster and Crabby's teams, then we'll come undone again.
And Warminster had a fairly good start to the season. That's 19 points from 9, so just 2 points behind Calne. But they played a game more. So do you expect them to be up there as well in contention for the promotion places?
Yeah, definitely this season. They've recruited well. They've got a very good side. Very good side. And yeah, they will be up there. They will be in the mix with a lot of others. But yeah, they will win a lot more games than lose, and they will be, at the moment, I would say, probably definitely looking at finishing in the top 4.
And Ali Bradley played for the first team the other day from the bench. He's obviously been putting some impressive performances in for the reserves. I know you've been up there to watch, I think, the Warminster and Hilperton games. What have you made of his progress since he's come to the reserves from Devizes?
He's done well. He's a Western League player. He's played at Devizes for years, in the Western League. So, we know he's a good player. He's come because he wanted a change and he was happy to go to the reserves, but he's got ambitions to play first team. And lucky for him at the moment that we've got so many midfielders that he might just have to bide his chance a little bit. But he's definitely someone that we would have no hesitation in bringing into our squad.
And Bradley is a notable example of the sort of players that Clive and George have been bringing into the reserves. I think Cullen Wiley is another one that's just come in. What have you made of their recruitment and the way that they've assembled their team since through the summer?
Yeah, they've recruited well. They've got a lot of Westerny players in their side. A lot of Calne, players that have played Westerly football for Calne before, so they've got a base already. They're quite lucky as well at the moment that they've got a few of our lads in their, in the reserve side as well. So they're strong. It's and it helps when you're winning games as well. That players, sometimes players, if you're winning games, doesn't matter what league you're in, they want a bit of it, and they're quite in that position where they can, probably get a few players if they're looking for, and that will come because they're a good side.
And Kieran Gleed has obviously come into the first team, so he's featured in all three of the friendlies. What have you made of his performances overall?
Yeah, he was injured the other night. Obviously, we were going to rest him. Well, not rest him. We weren't going to play Brighty and in Kieran on Tuesday, but Kieran turned up, to the game and said that he felt like he could play. He was fine. So we were going to give him 15, 20 minutes at the end, but we brought him on at half time, and he said he was okay. So we got the 45 in. But you could tell, he was the one, to be fair, in the second half when they scored his couple of goals, that was trying to get the boys up for it. He's got that in him that he wants to be a leader on the pitch as well. And you can see what he's got. His pace and everything just scares everyone. And I think now we just got to find a way that we can get Kieran and Brighty and Lewis and those exciting attacking players with pace into the game more. And just pointless them just being there and using them as an outball. We've got to get them involved more and make sure that the opposite teams, have a nightmare with them.
And Fabian Stanislas played out wide from the start of the game against Westbury. He's obviously had a season which has been marred by injuries. From the evidence of his training and playing in a few matches now, do you think that he's ready to start really making a go of it again in the first team and making an impact for the club?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's in the same boat as Deck, really. They missed first part of the season. Fabian a little bit more because of the injury. They both indicated, when they come back, that they wanted to try a wide area. Whether they saw that we had a lot of midfielders and wanted to push that way. I know Fabian plays up top for the under-18 side, the Chippenham side. So they wanted to try that, and it's hard to get them in there at the moment in those wide areas. So on Tuesday, when we knew that obviously Brighty and Kieran might be unavailable Saturday, we thought it was a good chance to give them both 45, on the wing, because if they aren't available, we had to have a plan B or a C. So we gave Fabian and Deg, and we told them before the game that this is a chance to show us what you can do out there and see if you can stake a claim.
And lastly, is there any other team news to be made aware of?
We've got a big squad again. Matt Hudson's still unavailable. He had his tonsils out a couple of weeks ago, so I think he might be available for the Boxing Day game, but he's definitely missing for Saturday. Nick Mills, who's sort of struggling with a little bit of fitness, we're going to send him with the reserves on Saturday to get 90 minutes or try and get 90 minutes to help him. We might send somebody else as well. We got a lot of defenders on Saturday, so we're just looking at that in a moment and seeing whether we keep them all in the squad or whether we see if one wants to play, for the reserves and get minutes instead of sat on our bench. Other than that, it's to Kieran and the Brighty, if they're fit enough, if they're going to start or be on the bench.
Nice. All right. Cheers, Trev.
Okay.